So, you watched the Metroid Dread trailer, saw the fanfare online, and thought to yourself, it's time for me to get into the Metroid franchise. And to that I say, congratulations! It doesn't matter how many Metroid games you have or haven't played, you are now a part of the ever-growing Metroid fanbase. There is no gatekeeping here, only warm welcomes. But with 35 years worth of games spanning 8 consoles, it would be a hassle to track down every single title and system thereon, especially since only 2 of them are playable on the Switch so far. However, you know what they say, when there's a Wii U, there's a way. You saw the title, so you already know what this is about. The Wii U is a console overlooked by millions, which is sad because it's just about the perfect Metroid machine. And it's all thanks to one of its best features, the Virtual Console. Here you can buy games from most of Nintendo's history, including the NES, SNES, Nintendo 64, Game Boy Advance, Nintendo DS, and even Wii. That's great and all, but how many Metroid games are available on the Wii U Virtual Console? Honestly, it'd be easier to say which Metroid games aren't on Wii U, because every mainline game is available, except for Metroid 2 and its 3DS remake. The spin-offs Metroid Prime Pinball and Metroid Prime Federation Force are also unavailable, though Metroid 2 and Samus Returns not being on there are the biggest bummers. Okay, and Pinball. Thankfully, both are available on the 3DS or 2DS, so if you already own one, which over 75 million of you do, then you can buy Samus Returns and the original Metroid 2 on the 3DS eShop. You can also buy Samus Returns physically, but you might have to spend more than a pretty penny at this rate. Now then, let's talk about the Wii U. For the past few weeks, Metroid games have been topping the charts. Clearly, Wii U owners are taking advantage of the Metroid series being on Wii U, so if you're trying to catch up on all the games before Dread, this is the console to do it with. If you want to start at the beginning of the timeline, there's the first Metroid on the NES, which you can also play on the NES app with Nintendo Switch Online, but take my advice. Don't do it. It's a clunky game with no map screen that hasn't aged well. Instead, play the remake, Metroid Zero Mission, which is also on the Wii U for $8. What's great about playing this on Wii U is that you can use restore points to bring yourself back to a certain part after dying. Also, you can enable edge smoothing to make the game look, well, smoother. Though Metroid Zero Mission is a full-blown remake of 1, it also includes an extra mission where you play as Zero Suit Samus in a stealth section with additional story elements. Even with this extra mission, the game is ridiculously short, and it's possible to beat in less than 3 hours. Even faster if you're attempting a speedrun. But after Zero Mission, and hopefully after you play Samus Returns, there's Super Metroid, which is the most atmospheric of the 2D Metroids. This game is available on the Nintendo Switch Online SNES app, but on the off chance you don't have a Switch or an online membership, the Wii U is a great place to get it, and for only $8 again. And it doesn't have that obnoxious border the Switch app does. If you're coming off of Zero Mission and or Samus Returns, I wish you the best of luck, because Super Metroid does not hold your hand in the slightest. Granted, it's not that hard to figure out where to go at first, but it gets trickier the more you go down that rabbit hole, facing off against a ton of monsters like Kraid and Ridley. This will be a treacherous mission, but an important one, as Super Metroid represents a turning point in the mainline 2D Metroids that affects the rest of the story going forward, which chronologically continues with Metroid Other M. And before I go further, no, it has not been confirmed that Other M isn't canon, so stop typing that comment. Anyway, this game is available on the Wii U eShop for $20, or you can buy it physically for the same price or less. That said, do you really have to? Do you want to? In case you haven't heard, Other M is a very controversial game. From its story to its gameplay design choices, I can go on for hours on why this is, but I'm just gonna say that if you're pressed for time, it's not an essential game to play before Dread. All you need to know is that Samus had a commanding officer named Adam. This leads us to Metroid Fusion, also available on the Wii U eShop for $8. And this is the only place you can officially play it besides on the GBA. Same with Zero Mission. This is arguably the most important game to play before Metroid Dread, as this is set right before the events of Dread. Though it might not be as atmospheric as Super Metroid, it is more terrifying than Super Metroid. Any moment the SA-X is on screen is a tense one, and there are also horrifying bosses like Nightmare, along with the eardrum-piercing Neo Ridley. What's most important about Metroid Fusion though is its story, introducing the X-Parasite, which will play a huge part in Metroid Dread. So if you only had to play one of the games on this list, I would highly recommend Metroid Fusion. But those aren't all the Metroid games playable on the Wii U, as we have the Metroid Prime Trilogy, and as a bonus, Metroid Prime Hunters. If you're trying to catch up on the mainline series before Metroid Dread, these aren't required to play, as they serve as side stories that do not affect the 2D games. Still, you need to play these games at some point, at least before Metroid Prime 4 comes out in the year 20X5. The Metroid Prime Trilogy is a measly $20 on the Wii U eShop, and that is an absolute steal. For $20, you're getting not one, but 3 of the greatest action-adventure games of all time, with incredible graphics, amazing environments, unforgettable bosses, and fluid Wii Remote pointer controls. The Metroid Prime Trilogy is truly timeless. That said, you can take your time getting to these games, as it's unlikely Metroid Dread is going to reference any of the events that took place in the Prime Trilogy, and that goes doubly for Metroid Prime Hunters, which for $10 is an interesting one to play on Wii U. As with other DS games on Wii U, you can choose to have the top DS screen appear on the TV with the bottom on Wii U, or vice versa. You can also play with both screens on TV or both screens on the gamepad. There's a lot of ways to play, but the best method for Prime Hunters, in my opinion, is the bottom screen on the gamepad with the top screen on the TV, as you'll use the touch screen to aim your gun. Metroid Prime Hunters is a multiplayer-focused game, so the main campaign is very light on the story, even for a Metroid game. If you want to relive some multiplayer action, the online servers are completely offline, but you can still play against bots. The only reason I might suggest playing it is that there's a character named Sylux who, judging by the end credit scenes of Prime 3 and Federation Force, will play a huge part in Prime 4. However, given the lack of story Metroid Prime Hunters has, all you need to know is that there's a bounty hunter in this universe named Sylux who hates the Galactic Federation. But wait, I'm forgetting the most important Metroid game only playable on Wii U, Metroid Blast from Nintendo Land. Grab a friend or two and go through some Metroid-themed carnival games filled with iconic enemies from the series and some amazing music. Plus, it's the only Kraid battle in 3D. Where does this fit in the timeline? Everywhere, just trust me. So there you have it. If you're trying to catch up on the Metroid series before Dread, or even Prime 4, then the Wii U is the console to get. It is quite literally a Metroid machine, letting you play some of the best and most important games in this series. I should emphasize that this is the only way to play these games digitally without tracking down physical copies, aside from Metroid and Super Metroid. All of these games on Wii U will cost you a grand total of only $79. So, if you have a Wii U laying around your house, it's definitely worth dusting off to buy and play these games. If you don't have one, you can pick them up for around $150 used on eBay, and it's worth it not just for the Metroid Legacy content, but other franchises as well. The Wii U eShop is honestly a goldmine for classic Nintendo titles. So, will you be buying or dusting off a Wii U to play these Metroid games? Let us know in the comment section below, and be sure to subscribe to GameXplain for more videos like this one. Also, check out the videos on the right for more topics that you might be interested in. Until next time, bye. Metroid Dread.